Hello, so the support on the last video was insane. It was about how to win Bed Wars. So I kind of thought that I should go over how to get good at PvP because a lot of people have been wanting that from me. So this video is basically just going to go over how to get good at PvP, how to get better at PvP, and how you can apply certain strategies into your games of Bed Wars, Sky Wars, whatever. So I'll be going over 3 points. 1 is movement, 2 is sprint stopping techniques, and 3 is strategies. So movement is an essential item not an item, but an essential idea of Minecraft. If you move your head, you will have better aim than your other person if they are just hitting in one direction. So basically, there's so much kinds of movements that you just have to get used to it. I can't really explain everything and you get good in like 5 minutes. So basically for movement, I want you to keep in mind that in PvP, everything has to do with movement. How you move your head, how you strafe, and even how you run and walk. So taking that into consideration, let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing is that you do not need like a super good computer or really high FPS or whatever to get good at PvP, because there's so many people that have just the worst computers on the planet that are still actually really good. So getting more into movement, more in depth, when aiming at a player, make sure you're aiming around the torso area, preferably around their chest, which is obviously the chest plate. Just if you're hitting the chest plate, that is the biggest area that you will be able to like notice where you're hitting. So basically, you'll almost always hit 100% of your hits if you're aiming at the torso. So, but the only really other thing I can say about aim is that it just takes practice. That's kind of the same with anything that has to do with any of these sorts of games, is just you have to practice. You're not going to get good without practice in anything. So the second part of movement I would like to talk about is strafing. Strafing is essentially moving left or right. Depends on personal preference. In my case, I just like to go left and right just randomly, because I tend to do it where if I don't even know what I'm doing, then my enemies will most likely not know what I'm doing either. So strafing is essentially moving left to right in order to hit your enemies, making your aim a lot better while making them have a lot harder of a time hitting you. You can look up more videos of this in detail, because I won't be covering this in depth because I am not the greatest at explaining these kinds of things, but there are plenty of YouTube videos on how to get better at strafing, comboing, PvP, whatever. So moving on to number 2, which is sprint stopping techniques. Here's a clip of what they are, how to use them, and different styles of them. There's not one that works for everyone. Personally, I do shift tap, but there's so many. There's like shift tap, block hit, S tap, W tap. There's so many of these. Just find one that fits you. And so yeah, here's the clip. Okay, so I'm here with Nightclaw, so I'm going to kind of tell you what these sprint stopping methods do. So first I will just run at him and just hit him twice without stopping sprinting. So let's go. 1, 2. He goes, how many blocks is that? 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blocks. So now if I do one of the sprint stopping methods, it goes for this one I'm going to be doing W tap. So for the sprint stopping methods, it goes like that. As you can tell, he goes like a lot farther. And so now I will show you the different types of actual sprint stopping methods. So the first one obviously is W tap, which I just did. Basically, if you look at my keybinds or my keystrokes in the top, you're basically sprinting and then just tapping W and hitting when you stop. So basically you just want to jitter or do whatever you want to get a high CPS. For the next one is shift tapping. So basically shift tapping is basically that, but you just go instead of tapping W, you just tap shift. It has the exact same results. And the last one I would like to do is the block hit. So basically you go ahead, grab a sword. Okay, so for this one I will be doing block hit. Essentially it's just instead of tapping W and shift, you literally just tap right click So it basically just comes to that, and as you can see, the exact same results. So they're basically all the same. You can do any one of these or even make up your own. I personally made up shift click, but I know other people do it now that I've seen videos of it and stuff. So yeah, that's basically the shift stopping methods. So as you can see, your enemies take a lot more knockback if you stop your sprint and resume it again. You might think, wouldn't that just hit them so far back that you can't combo them? Well, no, because you actually have to keep in mind that you will be running the whole time, just tapping one of those keys really fast. So what I would recommend doing is holding down your sprint key, which in my case is control. Some people use R. I think some people even use like E. Anyway, hold that down instead of just tapping it. Some people do that, but then you just stop your sprint and then get comboed. And yeah. Now moving into point number 3 is strategies. One really good strategy is just slowing your enemy's movement while keeping your own movement. So you can use really any projectiles. Some of them are snowballs, eggs, fishing rods. You can even do it without using a projectile, but with blocks. You basically just place 1 to 4 blocks in front of you. I tend to do like a 2 block high pole and just like curve to the left around, and that generally lets me get a combo pretty easily. So your enemy will definitely not expect it, but obviously since you're doing it, you will. So that was kind of just the general idea, but let's get more into a specific strategy of like an actual strategy that you would have to apply in game. So say you're playing Bed Wars and you're at an enemy's island and you have 3 hearts. What would you do? You can risk it, you can go in for the bed, you can do whatever, but then you'll still probably end up losing, could be if the other person has more health than you. So I wouldn't go for the bed because then you risk getting hurt and losing the game. So instead what I do is I go in a spot where either they can't hit you or play really defensive and try your best not to get hit. If you know you're better than the enemy, you can rush in when having like somewhere around 7 hearts just to be safe. You can have a little less or a little more, it doesn't really matter. Just 7 hearts is normally when I would like to go in. So in PvP, a lot of things I see people do are take risks. You don't want to take the biggest risk you possibly can to lose the game. Just take the small risks. Don't risk the really big risks that you know may have a chance of failing. You want to assure your victory, so don't take the huge risks all the time. So for the second strategy I would like to like put you guys in kind of is, say you are at your enemy's base. This is your first rush and someone decides to diagonal rush you from your other side while you are still at the enemy's bed. So your bed gets broken. Now you are at one team's base with another team moving in on you. What do you do in this situation? So normally what I would do is I would kind of just sit it out and try to make them fight it out. If you have blocks and you're a good bridger, you could just build up and just go back to your base and then try to go back to the person who broke your bed's base, or you could just go around the map getting stacked, but the first option is what I would do. But then from then on through the game, your final kill, so then you'd have to be really careful. So what you could also do in this situation is before you start rushing someone, always look if anyone's rushing you first, because if there's someone diagonal rushing you, you don't want to start going to the base to your right or whatever, because obviously you're going to get 2v1'd if you start a bridge going to a separate base when there's already someone coming to yours. So just try to think about these things while you're playing games, and that should make it a lot easier. That's really all I had for you guys today. Sorry if there wasn't enough visual explaining. I was kind of in a time crunch to do this video. I had to go somewhere. It was my upload day. I had to get it out before I went. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video, and make sure to leave a like, join my Discord and follow my Twitch. They will both be linked down in the description. They will be I'm pretty sure the first top 2 links. And I also have an Instagram account. If you want, you can go follow that. I will also link that down below. And yeah, I will see you all in the next video, and peace out.